The world is failing to stand with Gaza. So Ireland must stand with Palestinian children and civilians. We must stand up for humanity, because the response of the world would be very different if the headlines read that 14,000 babies in Ireland or Britain or any EU country would starve to death by the weekend. Every step would be taken to stop the preventable deaths of infants. Their suffering would not be treated with indifference. Yet in Gaza, it seems the world is going to stand by while 14,000 infants perish. And history will not forgive us for it, Taoiseach. Antonio Guterres has said the floodgates of horror have reopened. Gaza is a killing field. Civilians are in an endless death loop. Netanyahu's campaign was always driven by a plan to displace and to exterminate. Josep Borrell has said, "Seldom have I heard the leader of a state so clearly outline a plan that fits the legal definition of a genocide." And more people, even within Israel, are recognising this. I heard from an Israeli citizen this week who said, "As a human being, I hate this government with all my heart. They are willing to sacrifice innocent lives, Palestinians and our own hostages. This madness has to end." Taoiseach, President Michael D. Higgins is right. The UN Security Council has failed in carrying out its primary responsibility to maintain international peace. And at what cost of failure? More than 55,000 people, including 15,000 children, have been killed in Gaza since 7th October 2023. Nearly 300,000 more children on the brink of death and thousands injured. This is devastation, and the UN is failing in all of our names. So, Taoiseach, we must do more. Next week, we in Labour will bring a motion to the Dáil to mandate you to table an emergency resolution at the UN General Assembly to note the failure of the Security Council and to call for collective measures to secure a lasting ceasefire, a sustainable peace agreement and an international peacekeeping force for Gaza to allow humanitarian aid to flow and save lives. Our colleague Deputy Duncan Smith and I will be looking for unanimous support across this House for our proposals. So Taoiseach, will you pass the Occupied Territories Bill at home and abroad? Will you work to table that emergency motion at the UN? And of course, like you, I've condemned Hamas outright. Of course I've called for release of all hostages. Of course. But what Israel is doing now with impunity, while we see 14,000 infants on the brink of death through starvation, this has to stop, Taoiseach. Ireland has to do more at international level and here at home to use every lever in our power to stop what Israel is doing. So Taoiseach, if you fear that the Occupied Territories Bill will be struck down, let's test that. Let's take that risk, because across the opposition there is support for the Occupied Territories Bill. We've all been pushing for it to be passed, and you told me yesterday there would be progress on it. If you fear that the General Assembly will vote the wrong way, let's find out. Let's take that bold and brave step at United Nations level, Taoiseach. I'm calling on you to do that on our motion next week. We'll call on all parties in this House to support that call.